Hallelujah. Give me the hallelujah. In the morning when I wake up, in the night when I wake up, I will lift up my voice to heaven and give you the highest praise. Hallelujah to my King. Hallelujah to my Father. Hallelujah to my Jesus. I bow before the throne. When I look at all the wonder and I see all the creation, the beauty of the universe, you never, never change. You never, never lie. You never, never change. You never, never change. Hallelujah to my Jesus. Hallelujah. 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 Hey, hey. Hallelujah. Give it. Hallelujah. God is praise. Hallelujah. Give him the highest praise. Hallelujah. Give him the highest praise. From the praise, Jehovah. From the worship, Jehovah. It is of the first. All right, good evening to want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe, wherever you are. We want to apologize running 15-16 minutes late. There was a little bit technical problem, but notwithstanding, we're going to have a fascinating conversation here this evening. Team of analysts, views, opinions going to be heard right here on the Diaspora Informative News Outlet, Liberia Public Radio. Stay tuned, and we're going to be having this conversation very shortly. Hallelujah, giving the higher praise. Hallelujah, giving the higher praise. Hallelujah, giving, hallelujah, the highest praise. Hallelujah, giving the highest praise. Yeah, hallelujah, give me the highest praise. Ooh, hallelujah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah to my Jesus. Hey, hallelujah. All right, give praises to the Lord Jehovah. Let's get the conversation going. By a team of contributors and analysts, they are standing by. Hope for the rest of the tour to join me, and we will have a conversation here this evening. So let me bring the most liberal progressive on this network, Samson Bloku Brown Tour, is here as usual. We're going to take a trip to East Africa, to Liberians standing by. You're going to be contributing here as well. Everybody following to what is happening in Mama Liberia, the politics of Liberia here. Let me bring in Mr. Marcos Weir is standing by here as well. Let me see here. We can give something here. Okay, right here. Let's get it this way here. Okay, gentlemen, are you guys there?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. So. Thank you for having me.
Okay, Mr. Weir, are you there?
Yeah, thank you. I'm also here.
Okay, good. Is it possible to flip your device the way ordered so that we can capture your entire face or whatever it is? If we'll be we can. Is it possible that you can do that?
I don't know.
Is it is that a cell phone? Or...
Yes, I'm using a phone.
Okay, it can be rotated. Can you have that rotated? I mean, just if you rotate it, you're gonna go like straight on the other side. In order to just get in the horizontal form. So let me just, I want to get you off the screen and I will be monitoring you. Okay, let's see here. Okay, while we wait for the guy to deliver, man, this guy, he's still. Okay, just bear with me here. Maybe you can just do a little commentary here. What I'm trying to um, get the other folks on here. Okay, I think can you take charge in a little bit? What I'm trying to get a guy, the other
Well,
guy.
we'll just wait for you. In the meantime, I'll just play some music and stuff while you go on.
Oh my goodness, this woman here, he's so difficult.
I don't want to step ahead of the conversation here, so I'll just wait for you. But I'll play music while you continue on, if you don't mind.
Okay, go ahead, play. Let's go to two time. All right, thank you so much. My liberal. Thank you so much.
Around the waterside,
Are you hearing me, the liberal?
fish, we get them.
Yeah, thank you so much. You love that King Jimmy here. Yeah, I know whether you are in free time before. Okay, Mr. Weird, that's okay. We can have it. We can have it like that. But just I'm getting the feedback. You just have to see whether it can be something I'm hearing like a little bit from your side. Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, there's something like I'm hearing it's something like kind of like beeping. Okay, much better.
Okay.
Okay, gentlemen. Yeah, good evening, and I welcome to this evening podcast as usual. We're going to tap on news making headline. Lot is unfolding in Liberia in the political landscape of the country, and it's important that we have this sort of conversation. But
Mr. George want you to resend the link.
oh,
Apparently,
okay,
you must have
yeah, because the first one sent. Okay, let me just do that here. Yeah, let me do that here. Also send it back. Mr. George, Kishan, I think I sent the link. Prince, I send the link. Let me see what I can do that again, and so we can get this conversation on the way. We are a little bit beyond time. It's something too far. We always like to. Uh, Okay, Mr. Joy, check that. You should be able to get a link as well. I sent a fresh one to Mr. Sherry, Money Kitchen. Both of you can check. Okay, gentlemen, Mr. Tor, good evening, and Mr. Tawia, I was good morning from Kenya, Nairobi. So
Yeah,
much.
it's morning hours now.
Oh wow.
4:23 a.m.
Okay. Money, you're
Yeah.
not there yet, so you gotta go back. I'm not seeing you. So just go off and come back. Apparently, go back and see whether you can come back or and see, because I'm not getting your image here to capture you. Please, Mr. Kishan, General, just go off and see whether you can come back. Hopefully, you will surface. I just send a fresh link as well. Okay, so guys, too much been ongoing. They are still ongoing. Another party chairperson, I don't know, it's a faction wing, but the major news this weekend was Charlene Bronskin tried to restore the legacy, according to her, with a party. But we're going to take a route to see how we got to this point here within this collaboration. Is that a fair argument, gentlemen?
Yeah, it's a fair argument.
Okay. All right. I see Pa George here. Pa George, just position yourself. I'm going to bring you. But let's see here. Let's listen here. I know people have listened to it, but let's see what prompted her now. She said she's wanted to get into this here, but at the same time, she was trying to hold on. But apparently now things tend to move the way that was unexpected. So she stepped out of the box. Let's see here.
A party's ability of its leaders But one thing I'm telling other managers right now is
So
to try
let's see
Monday.com.
here.
Monday.com is
Bear with all here.
Elected officials to reach across the aisle to work with other institutions and collaboratively work towards the common good of the country. Let me start by discussing the first of the four elements, LP philosophy. LP is rooted in the 4 R's: reconciliation, reform, recovery, and rebuilding. There is a reason that Councilor Bronsky and the founding members of the Liberty Party named reconciliation as the first R. What is the definition of reconciliation? Reconciliation is simply the action of making one's view or one's belief compatible with another. It is simple and it is necessary. This is the time for reconciliation. This is the time to put Liberia and Liberty Party first. There were times when my father faced tremendous opposition, even from within his own party. There were some who betrayed him, who left him, who lied on him. But in the end, he always put those hard feelings aside. In the end, he always chose reconciliation. That was what the Liberty Party was about. The greater good, not about personal interest. If we do not reconcile as a party, we are useless to this nation. What good is a party with a leadership structure and an executive committee recognized by NEC, but who does not have a strong constituent base? What good is a strong and large constituent base with a leadership structure that is not recognized by NEC? We are nothing until we are one. If we continue to fight like this, we are of service to no one, certainly not any other political institution, and definitely of no use to the country. The masses are looking to us. Our country needs strong
Okay, I guess we are in a full house here. The general is properly attired to go on the political battleground. Prince Sharif is standing by on the Sakamoto base here in the U.S. with his beret and is about to dive into this. You have our man, Marcos Weah, is in East Africa, Kenya. Amos George is the senior analyst of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. Gentlemen, the best of political commentators, Pacquiaos, advocates, political pundits, assemble here to see what I'm going to find a common ground. Gentlemen, please, and happy season in advance. Mr. Sharif, welcome. The General, welcome. And all of you, the Liberal, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Prince, are you hearing me as well?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you. I'm just getting some feedback. But yes,
Yeah.
I'm getting you.
Yeah, okay. Maybe just one, if you get device on, you got to lower it. George, welcome. Okay, guys. I'm happy. General, as usual, you're not a stranger. Sharif, regular call out, and we extended you an invitation to come here. Mr. Weah from Wake, Kenya, this morning, hour your end to be here. Look, we got to get this thing off the hands of the politicians and see what we can make sense of. But because the bottom line for us here at LPR, we strongly believe is all about Liberia. I really don't care who is, but we want good people to lead. But we are concerned, one of the principal actors in this 2023, the CPP, is currently on life support. Other people say it's there, it's all over. But we're going to wait and see until it is all over. Well, how we got to this point here? Who didn't see this coming? Now we're going to be playing something here. There will be some extreme words going to be used for our viewers, viewer description of advice, but it's their own words. So let's see here. Just listened, and we're going to get there. From there, we're going to get the conversation going.
Anybody who thinks himself better than you, let your man or a man, and the man or the woman thinks he or she is better than you. They think they know more past you. They think they do good for you. They're from a better family. You so a labor from somewhere. You're not nobody. Don't be with them. Anybody in a relationship who puts you down, who trash talks you, who makes you feel inferior, do not be with them. My big sister El Luis just perfectly described it. A political parasite. You know what a parasite is in grade school doing science? A parasite is any organism that feeds off of another living organism. A parasite is a political parasite. The people bad. The people not good. Look at them. Look at all of them. Look at me. I'm clean. I was not here when I was stealing. I was not here when I was doing anything. I was not here when I was doing nothing. But I'm working with them. I'm working with them because I want to use them to be president. What a contradiction. You are a political parasite. You are a leech. You are leeching off of your colleagues. You sitting out, like I say, you sitting out on my shoulder, you say my hair stink. The woman I think I want to be addressed, let her answer me. Let the communist people answer me. Why the hell is Alex Cummings still doing with the bad people? They will never tell you that. Because he wants around the bad people. What a freaking fake, hypocritical thing. God's fakeness irritates me when I see the guy talking. He's a fake. You say you're not corrupt. You are a seat. You spending money, you're bulldozing people places. Private general all this time to resign. Private here and there. Undermining the Liberty Party. Going and buying people lawmakers to join your party because you didn't get one damn seat. And then you come here and you want to try to talk down to people and tell us that pack your damn bags and go. Ellis Cummings needs to be expelled from the seat. Simple. You're in a marriage, you believe your partner is not good enough for you. You are too good. Your family from upriver, not there from any interior. Now there ain't no book. She didn't go to school. She didn't go to their other school. And you know them when you know that. What you doing with a woman? Oh, the internet. The woman good for you.
Why do we?
Oh, to cook. And that's it good. To clean up the house.
Okay, guys, are you hearing me?
Yeah,
Yes.
loud and clear. Yeah.
Okay. So these are things that's been happening on the social network. We are concerned. 4 political parties put together. It was amazing. I have the framework here. That was in 2020 of April. Kume needs to be expelled and go. And it went on further. The water has been poisoned. So we saw this for quite a long while here. So, gentlemen, let's start the conversation here. There are 2 major actors here. Have the coalitions of the CDC and supposedly what should have been the collaboration for political parties here. Let me start here with our guest from East Africa here, Mr. Marcos Jewett Will. Look, is anybody surprised to see where we are today? Are you surprised?
Should I come in?
Yeah.
I'm one person who is not surprised, but I would like to thank you for inviting me on this platform. I'm so much grateful to be on at this time to also share thoughts with some great sons of our country. But what I want to say is that I'm not surprised because the CPP or whatever that brought them together was as a result of an interest, and that interest is the presidency. Besides that, they knew very well that if they have gone apart, they wouldn't have a strong force to go against the ruling establishment. So that's why they came together. They established the collaborating political parties. But how be it? Uh, they both, all of them have the same competing interest. Like I said on the show the other time, whether Nyambly, if she doesn't want to be the president directly, but I think she wants to be the vice president. You have the former vice president who wants to be president, and Ure also who has interest. The interest of Ure might not be a protection, might not be protected by Kumis. And Kumis also has an interest to become president of Liberia. So at the die minute wherein they have to decide to determine who becomes the flag bearer of the CPP, that's what the problem is.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm going to keep it concise because there's a group here, so we give everybody the opportunity to talk here. Okay, so let me come. I'm going to come to my analyst here. Let me come to our colleagues in a different world. Let me start from the CDC headquarters right here in the U.S., where Prince Sherry is there, is standing right here. This evening. Mr. Sherry,
Yes.
welcome. You have advocated, you are a strong advocate of this government here, but I'm going to take on a holistic approach for the good of the country. Who is the victor or victims or victor or the victim of what is happening right now? How is the seditions or the establishment government? Do you see as a welcoming news for them? As an easy way path? What going on in the CPP?
All right.
Surprise?
Let me first of all use this occasion to extend my thanks and appreciation to you, Mr. So, and your panelists, the big brother, Samson Tor, and also my own father, Amos George. Most of the time, I followed your presentation even when I'm at work. And I must confess here, are some of these presentations are the ones that help us to be able to build our knowledge and our presentation skills. I am one person who buy into the knowledge of people who are very knowledgeable and who have vast experience. This is the reason why we come to this particular thing with wealth of experience. Have almost about 50,000 persons following us. It is not because we know it all, no, but because we tap in the knowledge of you people. So I want to appreciate all of you for the great work. And I also want to say to the many viewers, I want to say hi to each and every one of you. And to those who have joined me for our today's discussion, the big brother, the general himself, Honorable Kishen, I want to salute you. It's a privilege for me to be sharing this platform with you. And also to my brother there, Marcus, I want to say, how are you, sir? It's a privilege for you to join us from that particular distance from Kenya. I want to say you are highly welcome. Having
thank you.
said that, big brother, so I am not surprised where we are with the CPP. You know, whatever I would base my analysis on the biblical foundation, whatever that is not established in truth, whatever that is not established in the interest of glorifying the divine being, as the Bible will say, it will definitely collapse. Coming back to our own political scenario, whatever that is not established on the basis of improving the lives of the Liberian people, whatever that is not established in presenting a more holistic and a realistic picture, in seeing how best we can be able to improve the lives of our people, that is all the way there in Bokonjide, in Toalstown, in Jenewene, in Grand Jide County, or wherever it is, it will definitely fall. And this is what we are seeing today. So I'm not surprised, because the conglomeration of our brother, under the nomenclature of CPP, it was done because of hate, and that is let's move President Weah, not on the basis of what are the alternative for us to be able to improve the lives of the Liberian people, create jobs, get better health facility, get the education sector intact, be able to build roads to reach our people. So at the end of the day, for me, Prince Sharif, it was predicted long before. So I am not surprised that we are here. Now, you asked the question whether it is a gain for the CDC. Let me say this. This is one of the things that the CDC will be credited for. That under the regime of the CDC, political institution that somebody will say is insignificant is today thriving. We saw the by-elections. There were some political parties today who are able to produce candidates in the House that a few years ago, we didn't know about them. They were nowhere around. When you call those political party names, nobody will even want to know whether they even exist. But today, under this particular regime, we have political party that somebody will say that are insignificant are today giving birth to. So this is a plus for us as a ruling party that democracy is taking shift. So whether the CPP come together or they don't come together, our focus is improving the lives of the Liberian people. That is our
Okay.
focus.
Okay, so let's do it. This is a very crowded field here, and our listeners, our viewer, we want to take this conversation at a different level. Take it from in the hands of these people in the bellwheel, the politician, and see how honestly we as a Liberians, actors, supporters of this institution, to have a general conversation. And we anticipate going to be a civil conversation, but we want to make it proportional, fair, and balanced. So we'll try to keep our points succinct in a reasonable time frame. So the general in the U.S. camouflage fatigue, General Kishant from the Garden City Way. Kishant, good evening and welcome.
Yeah, hi. So, hi, Mr. We are from all the way Kenya, Prince Sharif, Mr. Tu, and Mr. Josh. I want to say hello to all.
Okay.
And
Let
you
me ask you
asked,
a question. I'm not going to bring the same question to Mr. Sharif.
go ahead.
I'm your regular follower. Believe me, when I leave from here, when you come on 2 o'clock, you keep my work, you make my work easy, steady, and doing everything. I always follow you, and I know the context in coming from. But I think I could be wrong, but you have been arguing that this thing probably it couldn't have ended up better. There was no way. So where are we now? Where are we now with the CPP as far as we are concerned? You are a strong supporter of Alexander Cummings. Is the CPP still alive?
Well, as far as concerned, the CPP is over. It's just a matter of time, and that is what we'll be preparing for. They say during the peace, they say during peace you prepare for war. During war, you prepare for peace. So we've been talking it, we've been saying it because of the caliber of people that we associate ourselves with, That's why some of us knew that this thing here, it won't work. Because when you get other people think they are entitled to leadership and you are the new guy, you must stand in line and wait for your time. It's not going to work. And we have seen it. I said it before over and over. And by December, the end of December, it will be out. But the fact of the matter is that we are not the one who breaking it up. It's under the leadership of Ambassador Boaka. So he will answer the Liberian people because we had it for 8 months and we know what we did. And now it's with the UP. And since they took over, it been this extra crisis. So it's under their leadership. They will tell us what's going on. But we know exactly that they already gave us the green light that they want to leave. And if you're into a marriage, you can't just walk out of a marriage. That process you got to go through. So it's up to them to bring it out. Then we know what we're going to do next. But until they can voice it out from the leader, if Mr. Bwaka can come out now or Liberty Party say, listen, we are out, they will have to explain to Liberian people. For now, we are focusing on how to sell Mr. Cummings messages out there. So that is what I'm focusing on. So they can do whatever they want to do. I am prepared. We are prepared. And I will be happy. I will be honest with you. It will give me more leverage, more advantage to speak out and to say what I want to say. So we're waiting for that day when they make the announcement.
All
But
right.
so far, the CPP is out. But don't be surprised that we could keep the name, because you know the CPP. I mean, just give 30 seconds. Everyone is entrapped within the CPP based on the consensus agreement. So I can just leave. They can just leave. So if they go to court and they want to leave, who will decide what to do next. If the name CPP will stay and will bring other people in, we will do it, because
Okay.
we work too hard for that name.
Okay, before I go to our contributors and analysts, we want to say we welcome our viewers. And as you know the taboo of this network. You can disagree with me. You can call me CPP man. You can call me on top of sedition, honor seditions. You can disagree with my opinion, which is okay. But however, we will not allow folks, our followers, to be disrespectful to our guests by using words that are against the policy of this network. That is something we are very, very much uncompromising with. So you can disagree with Kishan, you can disagree with Mr. Sharif, but we will not condone any form of disrespect in the context of insult. Then we will have to pay you a fair way. So I'm not sure whether Samson told he's a strong supporter of Joseph Boyka. I don't know whether you call him Boyka now. Let me come to him. By the way, we extended invitation to Unity Partisan to Mr. George Lobo, but he didn't respond again. So it is what it is. But we need to have a civil conversation about our country. We want people to know that. So the liberal.
Yes.
You are being most liberal here. You are being a strong advocate of Ambassador Joseph Boyka. What I've not even heard in this conversation all along here, there must be an origins of any crisis, but we are unable to talk about the origins of this crisis. There's something that got us where we are today. Can you make a guess how we got here and who didn't do what to see this sort of explosion here today?
Yeah, Mr. So, thank you very much. I also want to take this opportunity to thank all of the panelists here tonight, especially those that are joining for the first time or tonight. I want to thank you guys very much for joining us. Before we go on, Mr. So, I just want to say this to the audience, 400 plus that are watching us. This is not Prince Sherry's show. Prince Sherry is our guest, and this is not the general show. The general is our guest. Anyone that comes on this platform to try to degrade or say any kinds of thing. These are our brothers and sisters. Even if we don't agree with them, they are our brothers and sisters from Liberia. So if you don't have the command of the English language, that you think perhaps you're going to come out here and try to use words that are not of a decent character to describe your own brothers and sisters from Liberia, then we will block you. Because here we discuss, we don't agree with them, but we're not going because of our disagreement that we're going to go below the belt and try to say things here just to give us an instant gratification. This is not the platform. I just want to put that out there. So anyone else, I'm watching here very keenly, and anyone that will write something that would not be respectful to whoever is going to be speaking, you can disagree with them, but if you don't have the language to express your disagreement respectfully and intellectually, we will block you. I just want to put that for Mr. So. Let me say this here very quickly. This is where I come out and say, I'm not here for your kumbaya here, brother, my own brother, little brother Prince coming out here and praising this and telling you this is not kumbaya. We're here to talk about business. So let's get to it. Prince coming out here and giving himself, so to speak, a pat on his back of that, though this government is doing such a wonderful job. Perhaps in about almost 5 minutes or so of his time, not once did you hear Mr. Sherry talk about the pro-poor agenda, because they cannot talk about that. They have not done anything with the pro-poor agenda to be able to tackle that. And Prince Sherry is saying here again that
Something to.
Mr. So the liberal is on, please. Prince Sherry came on and said the government is having the interest, trying to seek the interest of the people of the Republic of Life. That train had left the station, Mr. Sherry, if you don't know that. So I just want to let Prince know that very quickly. And as far as how this whole thing comes about, Mr. So, I'm not here to please you as a far right conservative. That's not my job, to please you, to try to come by and tell you this is how it happened. This is no. I'm here to tell you what I'm here to tell you is this: we're in it, and we will get out. These are grown men and women. These are responsible people found themselves in these kinds of situations. I'm sure many of them have experienced hardship in their own lives, and they were able to get out. So the fact that they found themselves in this kinds of position, it is not my job to predict. It is not my job to shift blame as here and there. I'm not going to do that because that's not what I do. What I do is to be here as a liberal and give my liberal voice to whatever conversation that we're having here tonight. So if you're coming to me to tell you what's happening and who started why and what have you, this is a wrong liberal, Mr. So. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Joyce.
Yes, sir.
The liberal is unable to answer my question. Asking a specific question. He is a strong high core supporter of Ambassador Joseph Newman Boyka, which that his own political entitlement. But there is a reason how we got to this point. There were sounds, there were signals, and these elephants in the room, lack of political tolerance, no one able to raise their finger to say this group is heading in a direction. He's not concerned. I am concerned. You are concerned because they pose themselves as alternative to President George Weah and every other Liberian. We invested time and energy, see where we are. And Samson Toh is pivoting, deflecting these questions, going after Prince Sharif to change the narrative. Who got us to this point, Mr. George?
Let me say welcome to Mr. Sharif, Kishan, Mr. Weah. What is it? Jumbo.
Jumbo.
Okay. And Mr. Samson Blokuto, the liberal from Town. Mr. So, there's a long way to go, but let me just wrap it up. Benina Yure, Joseph Boakai, and Yomli Kanga, they got up to this point.
How?
From day one, on the same show, when Benina Yure spoke, I said Benina Yure was a troublemaker in this thing. From day one, the tapes are there, people can look at it. It was the same Benina Yure that said that Comey was a stranger. Joseph Boakai sanctioned that statement. When Benina brought this leather business out, Joseph Boakai, Ambassador Boakai sanctioned it again. Yomi Kanga never investigated, ran with it. Document was author. So you can see the three of them put themselves in one corner now. Today, nobody can get the funding of that investigation to the Liberian people to tell us that, yes, the document was authored, and these are the things that was authored, and this is the group or group supposed to benefit from it. It's not there today. The country, the CPP is going down on Joseph Boakai. And let me take a shot at Mr. Sherry. Joseph Boakai is just a president we are. Don't speak on issues, burning issue. He is the chairman of the CPP. And he sees this organization going down. He's mute, missing the action. Just what President we are does. Burning issue, how many times the president ever came out to speak on issues? Maybe if I counted his president, maybe 3 times. This is the same thing with Joseph Boakai. So how can he entrust this man with kind of power? The experience they put on him 43 years in government, and he cannot displace that at this time, then I have a serious problem. But I don't want to take up much time. But let me just say this. Mr. Prince, you talk about job. I don't know how many thousand jobs that the CDC government has created for almost 4 years. Maybe the labor ministry, can you get a statistic from that and give it to the Liberian people to see about improving the life of the Liberian people? Let me hold on to Mr. Toll because this is a roundtable talk.
Okay, so let me come to Kishen. I will go to Mr. Sherry. Kishen, the general.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether you are part of the CPP, but you are a strong supporter of Mr. Cummings. What is the discussion within the ANC bill? Where we are today? Who are the authors of this whole thing here? How we got to this point? How far is that investigation? We are frowned on the government of some endless investigation. And here we are. That investigation was constituted. We learned a report. They brought in expert lawyers. What are they telling ANC? Is he the one that fingered these documents allegedly that we've been hearing that got us to this whole thing here? Is that what
Okay. That's what we're hearing from them. But let us be honest to ourselves. You see, when you get into a group and when you enter with sincerity, that honesty, that you guys to work together. May his soul rest in peace. The late Bromsky, when he invited Mr. Cummings and Mr. Boaka in to put this CPP together to check and balance and to hold George Weah government accountable. Everything started good. Okay. Everyone was equal. There was nobody bigger than a friend. And then Mr. Boaka brought in Ure. And then we put a document together. In fact, the document was not put together until after the by elections. And when they came up with this document, they all accepted the documents. Everything went fine. We used the same document in 2020 to register Darius Dillon and others. So that is why even when you notice Star One Way went independent and other people are going independent because you cannot contest, you are part of the coalition. Then I don't know where they took this thing from. But let me tell you what happened. They failed to realize they thought Liberia is the same, where people wait for your time. George Weah waited for 12 years after Ellen. He was so sure about himself. So Boaka too feel that, well, I took second place. So right after George Weah, if they don't need George Weah, I'm supposed to be the next person because I came second in the election. But something Mr. Cummings brought to politics in Liberia that it never happened before. Every politician that loses election, they leave. When they lose the election, you don't see them again until in 6 years or 5 years to the 6 years, they will resurface. But what Mr. Cummings did and what the ANC did, we started over. We went back to reintroduce Mr. Cummings to Liberia. And we started to go from county to county, from county to county. By then, Mr. Boaka was sitting back. Even the president, it took him 3.5 years to go on a county tour, while Mr. Cummings have already went through the entire country, excluding Riverside that he just went to. So we started doing everything. And what we're doing, we know that these guys are popular. Mr. Boaka been vice president for 12 years. Who don't know Boaka? You might not see him, but you will know the name JMB. So we started to go around the counties, talking to everybody, selling Mr. Cummings. This is the wonderful Cummings. Then we came up with this document. And this document was clear. Every party came in with 310 delegates. I know the delegates. Boaka knows the delegates. Everybody within the CPP knows who the delegates are. The delegates will come from the 15 counties.
So, okay, hold on here. We're not going to go all into that here.
I'll just trying to build the premise, and then I will tell you.
I will be going to Prince here. But do you think the CPP, the framework I have here, do you think they were transparent into this process, not just only to the members, but to the Liberian people? Because they position themselves to be the redemption, the redeemer. Were they transparent in their argument? You think so?
Well, Mr. So, I will not speak for the other people. We know the document was not 100%, but we accepted it the way the group put it together. We went through it. We gave it, when Mr. Cummings took it, he gave it to his lawyers. Before even they brought in a lawyer, he gave it to the ANC lawyers, and they went through it. Not everything in there that we like, but
Okay.
there was room to fix. Like they did the first one, and they brought lawyers in to amend certain things. Even the Constitution will not satisfy everybody.
Okay.
The first time they signed it, people went against it, but we had no choice. But we were honest, very serious about it. That, okay, fine, we must stand by this document. So that is what Mr. Cummings is standing by. We should learn to respect whatever you put on paper, whether it's good or bad, and you sign on it, you should live by it. That is what we're standing by.
Okay, thank you so much. Again, let's keep it to the point. Let me bring in Sheriff, and I will go to Kenyatta in Nairobi there to see it to our. Hey, look, Prince, the Liberal Progressives started by scrambling all over you and the CDC led government. I want you to speak to that, to get your reaction on that in a very brief context. But I'm also interested here. I want to know what is going on within the mind of the CDC in terms of wishing an effective campaign. What is the point of what is the discussion now? How will the CDC turn this thing on the CPP failure? Because from what we see, things are actually falling apart, and I don't think the center will no longer hold. What is the strategy you think will happening right now?
Thank you, sir. To the question of our own father, Mr. George, he asks about the issue of job creation. Let me be very emphatic on this particular platform that the CDC government, as a government, in the absence of our international partners that we had in the 12 years, has created more jobs than that of the Unity Party. It's something that you cannot argue because the facts are there.
Where can
Now,
we see them?
I'm coming. I'm about to give it to you.
Mhm.
Under the regime of Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, we had several international NGOs that were in Liberia providing jobs for our people. In fact, some of these NGOs were even helping the government to pay for some, services, either, in the area of education or in the area of health and etc. Like, for example, the Medicine Sans Frontier, MSF. MSF had a payroll that she was also aiding the government employees that were working in some of the counties, like Red Cross and Action Aid, etc., etc. They were helping the government in paying some of the government workers, basically in the area of education. They were in other areas that were paying. So government were not actually, paying these people. Now, when this international NGO left, we observed that there was a big problem. These teachers that were referred to as standby teacher, or we refer to them as, just helper or teachers aid, fall right back on the CDC government. So all of these teachers, 1,000 plus teachers, the record is there. I'm just giving you that of the Ministry of Education.
Okay,
The
yeah,
Ministry of Education, I'm coming, sir. The Ministry of Education had almost about 1,000 teachers that were never on the government payroll because they were being paid by other international organizations. So when they left, that space was created. Now it was up to this government to take on the responsibility to make sure that these people are absorbed into the system. And that was definitely what this government did. This government did not renege that responsibility to say, well, we do not have the resources, so we cannot incorporate you. So what the government did was to incorporate them. Now, when you go to the health sector, you and I know that the first protest that was ever propped up in Liberia was the health people. They came up and said they have been working for months, they have been working for years, and they've not been paid. Some of them have not even been on payroll. And they demanded that government is continuity, so this government must pay them. What the government did, sir, I'm coming, let me just lay on this. What the government did, the government did not say, we don't have money, you people must go. The government incorporated them and include them into the payroll. Today, we have thousands of government employees that was left along the wayside, or that were just, abandoned by our international partners because they could not bring in anything to be able to sustain them. And the government of Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, they've been incorporated by this government.
Okay, so let's do this, guys. I am in charge of this vessel here. So when you say something, there could be a potential follow-up. So when I call your attention, it's not meant to interrupt, but for us to get to the battle line. Before I go to Mr. Taiwie in Kenya and come back here. So let me ask you, the CDC government, it was glaring. They were on the path to the presidency. Uh, is it something that they were unaware? They didn't know that there was going to be a drawdown after the Helen Johnson's leave? Was there any contingency plan? Are they caught unaware, you think?
I would not want to say that the CDC government was caught unaware, but it's just that the challenges were insurmountable. I would not want to say we're caught unaware because we knew the problem, and that's why we agitated for and advocated for that we could solve the problem. But it's just that, like for example, the population in Monrovia. When you were there, the population is now different. Within the next 4 or 5 days, do you know that there will be an addition of another, there will be an addition in the population. So
Okay.
it's just that the problem was insurmountable, and the best thing that we could do is to solve it from the way we solve it. And that's why we took realistic action. Like when you look at the issue of the how you call this budget harmonization, that was what really saved this government. And that was a very clever approach that this government took to be able to incorporate all of the insurmountable problems and solve them.
All right, thank you so much. Let me go to Wyatt, and then I'll come to Librot and Kishin. Guys, let's just keep it as short as possible so that we can have a good input here. And we'll try to be doing this. Don't hesitate. You can invite me on your network, the general as well. Look,
Yes.
people are trying to create a loophole here. Okay, the international support is drawing down. How many years now we in here? Is there an arguable point that we can take to 2023? And if they are taking that to 2023, see what is happening with the alternative. Where does that leave the Liberian people in terms of decision-making process?
I think the Liberian people should now open their eyes if their eyes were not open before. I don't want to dwell on the issue of my brother giving an excuse that the previous regime had international support. Then the question goes to him, who stops this current regime from having international support? Because there is no country that closed her border or international relationship with Liberia since President Weah took over as president of the Republic of Liberia. So you have your foreign ministry, you have your ambassadors all over the world. It is your prerogative to go and negotiate in the interest of Liberia and Liberians. So those arguments is like a man who has taken a woman for another man, and he's still telling that woman that when you were with that man, he did not buy you a house, so I cannot buy you a house. Those are flimsy arguments, We need to desist from those kind of arguments. It's very serious. Okay. Now, what I want to say also, you asked a question, what brought us to this? Ambassador Boaka, who is an experienced politician in Liberia, he hired Costa to be on his public relations. And he continued to say there, Costa continues to attack one of the proponents of the CPP. He has never stopped Costa. So if you as a father, you cannot stop your children or maybe your child or children from going against other people's parents, it means that people will think that you are the one who gave your child that authority to go and abuse other people's parents. So the result might be very bad for you. So the issue here is now the Liberian people have to be very careful now, because all along with all these arguments from CPP, from this other group, look, Liberians have not seen any policy statement from these people we are talking about.
Okay, hold on.
There is no policy statement.
Yeah, you put a bomb, you spilling acid into this whole conversation here. Maybe in Kenya, people don't drink acid water. I don't drink it here because my so Lebro.
Yes, Mr. So.
You heard what Mr. Weir said?
Yes, I listened to that. I listened to it, and then those are his views, and he's entitled to it. What he's not entitled to is facts. Those are his views. So the facts is a little bit different than his view. Let me put it. But before that, this is not about CDC here tonight, and so I am not going to make this show about CDC. But I just want to strike one or two things on what Mr. Sherry have stated here. Mr. Sherry should also know the fact that CDC came in and decided to massively increase the government payroll, and in fact the international community pushed them and then discuss and make sure that the wage bill was settled, because the payroll was just too much. And it's not like that Honorable Samuel Toy is such a smart person that he did the harmonization stuff. No, they were forced to it. But that's another thing. Mr. So, I've been saying it for over and over. If you look in the corner here, which I'm not about ready to turn my camera over, I have about 3 binders for the unforced error by this CDC-led government. And so when the time comes, I will utilize.
You're still shifting.
Mr. So when the liberal is on the floor, please let him express himself freely. And let me just say this here to you. Mr. So you or the central right will not try to take me out of my talking point. Those are all in it, and you're not going to take me out of it. Mr. Weir, let me just say this. Honorable Bakai. Did I say Honorable? I mean Dr. Bakai. Let me put it to you. Yes, Dr. Bakai. He's going to be able to come in and stabilize it. Now, let's be frank with you. And I agree with your point. I agree with it. And when this whole mess started, Dr. Bakai was not able to forcibly take control of the issue. And I fault him for that. But here's what I don't fault him for. As a liberal progressive, I understood his position, because if you remember, Dr. Bakai explained to us that this whole thing that is coming is part of democracy. And in fact, that Liberia is getting involved into this so-called democracy. He said, let the young people that are supporting us have the chance to have these kinds of discussion. What Dr. Bakai was not realizing is that many of those people that were involved in this so-called discussion, they were taking it to the next level. They were taking it to the street level. And Dr. Bakai was hoping that these people, young people, would come together and intellectually engage. Instead, we have people coming in, insulting, degrading their own brothers and sisters. And I thought at that time, Dr. Bakai should have just come out straightly and say, enough is enough. However, during his town hall meeting in Philadelphia, he did mention something about an old man telling his son, nail here, when you pull it out, the hole. So he said, whenever you make remarks about somebody else, if it's bad, it leaves marked on that person. That's how you as a father of the nation, that's how you try to settle the issue. Now, in terms of CPP, Mr. So, you keep asking this question tonight. How this thing started? We're not going to relitigate. I'm not here to relitigate this whole issue. All I know is, even if CPP is not going to hold, for me, it's a very shameful business. If CPP is not going to hold, then all of them, including Honorable Cummings and all, then they are all fraud, to be honest with you. And I'm using this word liberally. Fraud. I'm saying that. The reason I'm saying this is because these people came and told Liberians that we are here to bring this thing together and be able to redeem this country. And many of us believe in them. And many Liberians, including some sedition, pin their hopes on the pronouncement by CPP. And then out of a sudden, and I keep saying this to you, Mr. So, Honorable Kumi came into this thing with trust. With trusting these people, believing that they were going to do the same thing. and not realizing that
So, okay, quickly here.
so that
Question before I go
Mr.
to
So let
yeah,
me
hold on.
wrap
You're not
up.
going to go.
Yeah. But now, let me
No, hold
finish.
on. Hold on. I said
Mr.
we're not
So,
going to
can
go.
I finish my statement, please?
Okay,
Okay, go ahead.
something.
What's your question? What's your
Yeah.
what's your
He
interruption?
said he came into this thing with a trust. Who is not trusted within the CPP?
Oh, I think you know me. I'm like, cool. My ain't saying your mother, I ain't saying my mother. Nothing they can do to me. I'm like, cool. Here's what I'm saying. Dr. Bakar, his behavior shameful. My own political leader, Madam Yumley, her behavior shameful. Benina Yuri, his behavior shameful. You cannot, and this is where they started. That I started saying to myself, these people were not serious. You cannot have a political party to say the political party leaders are going to endorse somebody, but the president, Bernard Ure and Madam Yumdi, their party was not going to put anybody for. It was Dr. Baka and Honorable Comey coming in. So you invite Honorable Comey to come and sit while you endorse his opponents. This is intellectually dishonest at this higher level. And if you do that, then you have no standing anymore. And so that's what I'm saying. When Mr. Comey came in, he trusted these people. If Mr. Comey had come in and know that these people are going to behave the way they did, he was going to, even if he agreed to still go, he was going to put his foot down and say, let's settle things the way they're supposed to be. But that didn't happen. So we're not going to sit here and relitigate this stuff. Let's move on. If CPP is breaking out, let's find way. And like I say, if CPP is not going to hold, so we need to crawl back to Dr. Weir and begging to lead us.
Okay,
yes, thank you, Mr. So, and to all those who watching. Although Mr. Samson Branto don't like for people to say things when people are right, I like to give people the flowers while they are alive. To every other person who say they are talk show hosts, sometimes it's good to speak the truth. I tell people all the time, never fall in love with politicians. You only admire them. Because when you fall in love with politicians, when you see the wrong, you would not say, I've been saying this thing on my show, and I heard it from the liberal mouth himself. Who caused this problem? They should have taken that leadership role. Leaders can never be the first to endorse when the process have not started. And that is where the problem started. And I don't want to go deep into it because Mr. Brown to have said it all. And I want to say thank you, sir, for your honesty. And I will always mention you on that, and I will let people know. But we must speak the truth. So, Mr. So, I know we're not here for the CDC people, which when the campaign comes, they are very easy to deal with. I know my brother doing his best to promote the CDC, and I will tell him he will not get one new voters on the CDC side because it's a story that we hear all the time. When you continue to only concern about achievement and concern about one man in a group that's supposed to be a team player, they took over this government. Everything was in place. Salif made it easy for them. I failed to unite Liberian people, and I failed on corruption. That was clear. You refuse to audit this government. Within no time, 16 billion Liberian dollar got missing. And according to the report, 41% of that money was delivered under the George Weah government. Then $25 million. So the corruption have overshadowed the entire government. I don't care if they can paint the sky white, they can pave the road, they can do whatsoever. The people's lives is damaged. That is why we are desperate. That is why the Liberian people are seeing it. Today, President Weah can never hold anybody hands up and win election. The wonderful George Weah that I know, those days when the late Muna Pena was crying for election, George Weah lifted her hand against John ran up and he was defeated. Geraldine Doe, George Weah put her hand up and that was it. Akara's great. Today, nobody hands that George Weah ever put up and they won election. Today, independent and opposition defeating George Weah. But they will say, oh, he's not on the ticket. No. That's a message Liberian people are sending out, Prince. So for y'all, we're waiting for the election. When we know that we are now standard bearer, then the campaign will start. So Liberians are not stupid people. So you can give all that big things. Don't waste your time, my brother. You will only play to the sedition, the CDC base. The three parties that are not together right now. Don't worry about it.
So here is the thing here. You
Yes,
guys are trying to fly here. I'll come and share with you. You guys are the substance of the tonight conversation we started off here, and you and the liberals are trying to twist the wheel here. We want to know what got us here. Well, there will come a time we will go into the CDC and all of that, but we are not still finding the solutions because we get Charlene, who is the dollar. Struggling to keep the legacy of Liberty Party, Samson Party. Even so, I reached out to the chairman. They said they want to send a statement. We haven't gotten a statement. Sherry, I'm going to be coming to you. Mr. George.
Yeah.
There seems to be a lot of deflation, tweeting, and restructuring our conversation here by the Liberal Progressive. And the Liberal seems to be now winning Kishan, the general, on his side. We're not talking about CDC. The four major political parties that came under the collaboration seem to be the hope and aspiration for brighter Liberia. Here we are. No one is taking responsibility. The simplest definition that I can give for collaboration, working together for something to produce something better. I'm not sure whether that's the better we have today. The momentum we have yesterday, a couple of days ago, that has faded away completely. We saw another chairperson of the Liberty Party, Samson Toe, is not taking hands on that. Senator Zago, who, by the way, was humiliated within his own cycle. We saw today flying by Dallas Dillon. Somebody getting a feedback here on something here. Yeah. I saw him today flying back Darius Dillon. Is the chairman for Nyomli Kanga Lauren. Hassan Belete on the other side. These are unresolved issues. Samson Toe is not speaking to them. I don't think it's all about CDC here.
No, and that's the point here. Let me say this. It is shame on this CPP. Shame on them because the hope and aspiration that the Liberian people developed in them for the short period of time, it seemed to be dashing away. But let me take on something the press conference mentioned first. Let me talk about Steve Zago, Darrell Dillon, and the rest of them. These people don't have no shame. Darrell Dillon, Steve Zago, they got no shame. I don't want to go to other place. They have no shame. Steve Zago, that was thrown out of the party from his chairmanship by the very Darrell Dillon and Yomli Kanga that undermined him to remove him. Today, standing there quoting the 2015 Constitution. Where are people coming from? You went to a convention, changed the Constitution, submitted to net. Because Darrell Dillon, Yomli Kanga cannot find a way to come back. Then you say, oh, you're using the 2015 Constitution. What is people are taking the Liberian people to be? It's just shame on Steve Zago and Darrell Dillon and the rest of them, the Yomli Kanga. The Election Commission said the Constitution you presented to them, it is intact. So why are you going by the 2015? These people got no shame. They got no moral to stand for the Liberian people to make that kind of statement. So let me turn around to Sharon Bronsky. Look what she said. She said when they started these things, she said, no, let's keep this old constitution. Let the officer remain in power. She said she got a blowback, pushback from both sides. That is the Yomli Kanga that was on the side, and the Belete camp. That she wanted to make this thing like her personal property because her power, she wanted to succeed. So she said, well, she backed down. They went into the convention. It was a convention that brought Musa Belete and the rest to power. So how can now Steve Zago with Darrell Dillon will come back to say, no, that is not in place? These people they are contradicting themselves. And it is not time that the Liberian people call on them. Sharon Brown just yesterday spoke about unity to reconcile the differences within the party. And today, Steve Zago, in the life of Darrell Dillon, you can have the nerve to come call a shameful press conference that they could not explain anything to me to make sense. This is where we find ourselves. These people are political prostitutes. They just want to jump from place to place where they can grab on like a leech, like one of Joseph Boga spokesperson said, leech, and grab onto it. And this is why Yomi Canal, they have found themselves in. These people, they have lost the relevance within the Unity Party. They either set aside or shut up. The grief of money and power, they destroy the party, and this is what hurts me. And I see error when they come out, the first thing they want to praise the late Councilor Bronski. No! You have betrayed this man. So you're leaving. Let him rest in your grave. Your grief of power, you betrayed this man. You don't call him in this kind of occasion. Because this man has he stood for principles. I didn't know him too well. I met him 1 or 2 times. But he stood for something. But today, what that was not a dream. Destroying the party, then you want to be hearing the late Bronski. No. Leave this man. Because you undermine this man's daughter when she said, let her keep this thing, the constitution that my father had it, so we can let it put in the term. You said no. Because you are taking money from Musa Bilede. When I circumvented the constitution and brought in Musa Bilede. Now, you cannot control Musa Bilede, say, go by 2015, a shame. But let me just mention something quick before I leave. Mr. Sherry, let me just abuse your mind. When we talk about jobs creation, government is not the entity that creates jobs. Government facilitates, encourage, create avenue so the private sector can come and invest. Government job is not counted as job. So let me just mention that to you. Secondly, you said you are going to lift 600,000 people out of poverty. Your minister the last time said that they had to go back because it's not working. It's not feasible. So though the CPP is cracking down, I hope they will put an act together, but CDC cannot make this argument on job creation and improving the lives of the Liberian people. They have no moral ground to create it because they are not lived up to their commitment. The promises they made to the Liberian people is now being thrown down the trash. Let me stop there.
Okay, let me, Prince being brought in, I'll be going back to Weird. You already got the Liberal drinking a whole bottle of water there. I think there's another one that he will be grabbing. Look, Prince. Mr. Sherry.
Yes, sir.
So, it's still coming to you here. Let me get your view, your opinion. And again, I will want to make it known here. Prince is not here, or neither Kishan is here to represent ANC or CDC. They are sympathizers, they are supporters. So it is their views and opinions that they are airing here. It does not in any way to represent the leadership. If they will bring like the Secretary General or party chairman, then of course it is why it is. But talk to me here a little bit. Let's be a little bit concrete here and not abstract. You saw George, the central right, already firing at you. What 3 things that you think the CDC government can really point out that people can feel to make an argument against? We see the CPP is still on life support. We don't know whether you're going to resurrect. I think that's the end of it. They are wasting their time. We said this long time, but people didn't listen. But how can CDC, you on the defensive side, can really prosecute effective campaigns for if President we are to be re-elected? What thing they can really point to for us to feel, to see?
All right, thank you.
You talking to me? Or...
Thank
I'm
you.
just
Thank
kidding.
you.
I come into
Let me-
I'll come to you.
I'm just kidding.
Let me just re-echo this, like you put out the disclaimer, and I want to thank you so much. While it is true that I'm the Deputy Secretary General of the mighty Coalition for Democratic Change, but I am not here representing my institution. Thank you, sir. Officially, I'm here, as a top show host and one who have come to also give his view relative to what is obtaining in the political arena. So let me just make the disclaimer. At the appropriate time when the institution is rating, then we'll come to represent the institution in that capacity. So I just want to put that out. But I listening to a big brother too, Mr. Toe, who said something that is very important. After discussing the failure that he have seen within the CPP and where they are heading, he made a very good point that there is a need with the way that they are going, that they will just go right back, if I will paraphrase it, to President Weah and just beg him and say, President Weah, this thing here, the people pay off. Let's just continue with begging you can so that you can just lead us. That was a very good statement from the part of Mr. Toe. And this is just what is happening when you look at within the CPP, that the Liberian people are now begging President Weah and the CDC to continue. And that's the reason why I continue to tell people that we are not going, like, if I will borrow from the word of Big Brother Kishen, we are not going to reintroduce anybody or to introduce anybody. In his opening statement, he said Honorable Alexander Cummings did not leave the country. They went back to their people to reintroduce him or to introduce him. We are not going to introduce President Weah. We are not going to introduce the CDC because the CDC is a household name. Because of what we are doing, like you said, Big Brother So, what are three things that we can look at, and lay our basis on it for which we can be able to tell our people that, look, trust us. The first thing I want to say here is the democratic atmosphere that we have built over the period to be able to give every political institution, every Tom, Dick, and Harry who jump out in the morning and say, me a politician, the right to be able to thrive in that particular political arena. Yesterday, it was not there. I could go on and name people who got missing because of their political views. I need not to talk about Harry Greaves. I need not to talk about Marco Allison, the whistleblower. But today, under this particular government, politically, when you even look at the
Do you want to talk
MCC
about the three
report,
missing Prince? Do you want to talk about the three missing boys?
the three missing boys has nothing to do with President Weah or with a particular government agency.
The
All
four
of us
auditors.
know that particular issue. And if we take the time to go into it, we discuss it for the next 1 hour. But again, I want to be within the confines of our discussion, so we can take the next hour and discuss it. Now, when you look at those things that we should hail this particular government for, you look at the MCC report, which was not prepared by me or any one of us. The MCC report gave this government excellence when it comes to good governance. The report is there. When it comes to good governance, it gave this particular government excellence when it comes to the freedom of political interaction or people interacting politically. When it comes to the issue of people expressing themselves, the freedom of the press. And these are things that people look at on the international scene to create a government. So when it comes to the political right of people participating, is there. That one, the records are there. Now, let's look at the issue of infrastructure development. Under no government that we have had such an unprecedented development in terms of infrastructure as compared to what we are now doing under this particular government. In the lack of all of the, the virus that, this COVID-19 that we had. In fact, we still have it. So not that even that we had, but the COVID-19 that is hitting the world, all of us know that everywhere is affected. But this government has not reneged on responsibility in building the infrastructure. As I speak to you, we have built more ministries. For example, look at the Port Authority. We have been able to transform that place to a modern I mean, a very modern facility that
Okay,
anybody can
please,
go there
let's
and
leave
would
it there. Let me
look
go
at the
to,
industrial complex. Yes,
okay,
sir.
let me go to Kishan here. Kishan. Kishan.
Yes, yes, sir. Yeah, I'm here.
I pray just lay out some of the achievements and some of the things that are happening. Is there anywhere that you can give the CDC credit and accreditation?
Yeah, you see, we've been giving CDC credit when it's due them. But some of the things that they ask that they try to talk about, you see, it's sad. When you, as a city government, try to worry about autonomous agency, yes, it's under the government. The autonomous agency can decide when and where to build a head office. It's not the president part of his infrastructure build or his development plan. So let's stop this thing. Look, not everything bad with the CDC government. George will have done some good stuff. It's not the like, president. I'm hearing myself.
Yes, who plays something? Please.
Infrastructure build or his development. Can someone please go? Yeah, someone. Yeah. So, yeah. And I'm surprised that he never even spoke about the WIAC fee that the president pay or talk about the free tuition at the University of Liberia, because they talk about that and all the little feeder rules. As far as concerned, when it comes to development, we have not done anything to Liberia when it comes to development. Nobody have built roads. What the president is doing right now is rehabilitating, because roads was already there. It was already cut off just to greater it and put one quota. All these things are all because of elections. The problem with CDC, from the day they took over, they are still campaigning. Instead of them concentrating on the job that they were elected for, they are still campaigning, worried about 2023. Whether President Weah do good or not, come 2023, opposition will contest. Do the job of the people. What is the short term? What is the long term? We have not heard anything of the pro-poor agenda. That's a very good document. Very, very, very good document. But we have heard nothing. I say this again. The CPP, if the CPP breaks out today, it's not a victory for CDC, because what CDC don't still get yet, no party in Liberia can tell you I will receive 50 plus 1%, 50 plus 1 in the first round. No. Yes, when we go separate, CDC might come up with 30% of the vote. When we enter the second round, this time around, let CDC get it to their brains that when anybody, as much as we say we don't like the UP, we don't like this other person, but any party that will go against CDC in that second round, Liberia will think twice.
Okay.
That is the time. Liberia will think twice. So y'all stop running around about CDC going to win. I haven't seen it yet.
All right. So let me bring you. Then I'll go to the Liberal here, because Prince took a good soundbite from the Liberal, because he has reiterated this call here. We gotta crawl and come back here. That's gonna be a good talking point for believing on Prince show as of tomorrow here to validate the argument of the Liberal progressive.
Need to play on his show.
So,
and in fact, let me just inform you that it's been also carried live on the show on the Palava Hot. So,
Lord.
Yeah.
My goodness, the Liberal. Okay, so Mr. Weir, yeah, you gotta unmute your microphone.
Am I okay?
Yeah, you're okay now.
Okay.
Look, for me, I found myself like a piece of cloth between the scissors, the CPP, the CDC. It's like put two persons together and you try to give them nicknames, but you find it very difficult how to make the comparison and to even contrast. Now, the bigger picture is the electors, the Liberian people. What are they processing right now? I mean, it was a long time party, Liberty Party, be feeding Charles Bronson's dreams from time to time is to be the president. I was surprised. This is where the disappointment of political institutions just center around one individual. If you were to honestly ask CDC, honestly ask Unity Party, honestly ask ANC, Liberty Party, the only live support for Unity Party here is Joseph Boyka. Joseph Boyka, Joseph Boyka, Joseph Boyka. They are not bringing up new stars. They are not bringing up new faces. ANC, all we are here. I asked Mr. Cummings that before, but he said after this election, if he doesn't succeed, that's the end of his political career. If you go to the CDC, you ask them right now, we've been hearing say 12 years, okay, anything is possible. But after 12 years, where is the preparation now for sustainability of any of these parties? You ask the Liberal Progressive, or he will tell you Boyka, 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 Boyka. No, any other person.
You ask George Lobo?
You ask George Lobo, Boyka. It's the same way. So how do we expect our country to get involved with one of these people?
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Now that is a good point. But you know, when you look at the actual definition of politicians, you say that politicians are those people that see the day-to-day happenings of their country, their community, or wherever. And whenever they see those things that are happening, they should be able to solve those problems. But in the case of Liberia, that is a different case. It's a different case. Our politicians only prioritize their individual interest. Now, we are discussing about the Liberty Party, Charles Lynn Bronski press conference and what have you. But I want to take something from what she said. She said, what good will it do for the Liberty Party if the political leader, Nyambli Kanga Lawrence, nullifies the Bangas Convention? What good also will it do for the Liberty Party if they have two factions and both don't want to come together? Then what good will it do for the CPP, including the Unity Party, if they have two divided factions within one of the parties that is a part of the CPP?
Mm-hmm.
She asked all of those rhetorical questions. And I know that the leaders of the various political parties listened to that press conference and they might have taken cue from what she has said.
Hold on 1 second.
Yes.
Taking cue. But we saw a new chairperson of one of the Liberty parties being, inducted in a major conference. So don't you think it was waste of Charlene time? Because I thought they were going to be creating the conversation. I'm wondering here whether there was an initial conversation with the Liberty faction wing and that of Nyambli Kanga and Darius Dillon. But seeing what we're seeing happening now, I'm not sure whether that happened.
Yes. What you saw today from the Liberty Party and the other group of Nyambli Kanga Lawrence, the chairman who has been agreed upon by the Nyambli Kanga's group, he's trying to flex his muscle to tell the Liberian people that he still have the numbers, that he's very strong. That's what he did today. But I don't think so it was proper. But you heard Charles Lynn when she said there were people who also betrayed my father. And one of those was Darius Dillon.
Of course.
In 2011.
You were speaking a specific tone. And I guess who actually you are referring to. Could we add Ben Sevi into that category as well?
Probably. In 2011, Darius Dillon chose to support Manan Salif over Councillor Bronski. The reason he gave was Manan Salif was the lesser evil. That's what he did. Then Councillor Bronsky himself did not do the party well when he knew he was leaving the political scene. What am I trying to say? When you look at the ascendancy clause of the Liberty Party, because I also associated with the Liberty Party due to Nyombli Kanga Lawrence, I was working with Honorable Adolf A. Lawrence. So I had a close link with the Liberty Party. So if you look at the ascendancy clause of the Liberty Party, it tells you that if the political leader leaves, the next person in command is the vice standard bearer.
Yeah.
Why is it that Councillor Bronsky did not hand the party over to Mr. Honorable Harrison Conway, who was the vice standard bearer? So when you look at some of these things that are happening, because all along the political leader have been having more powers. So since they noticed that Musa Belede came into the picture, he needed some power, not to be just as a spectator, chairperson. So he needed some power. So when they stripped some of those power from the political leader, there where the problem came in within the Liberty Party.
Okay, so let me.
But now, before I conclude on this issue, now the issue with the CPP should be worried. But now they should be worried. It's a serious issue. What my brother Prince is saying, Prince will not tell you here that the CDC is happy. No, he can never tell you. He will never tell you. But within their closet, they are happy concerning the crumbles. This organization within the CPP, the CDC is happy because it is a major boost for them.
Politically, yeah. Okay, the liberal.
Yes, thank you.
This is, I'm quite sure you listened to Charlene. She made a proposal, a council, because that's the purpose of this conversation. You kept pushing it on the other side. We need to come back to base here because we will find time for CDC and we'll still bring Mr. Sharif here. But more or less, we're taking it, it's all about Liberia. She's proposing a 7-person council and even volunteering to sit on that council. I am wondering, there was a prior conversation with both the Nyombli or the Liberty Party before even coming to the microphone. It is unusual in this sort of what happens. She gave it and did not take question. But that's another way to stabilize conversation when you are into making peace. I'm wondering, not just only Nyombli, even though it's within the Liberty Party, but there are other parties part of the opposition. But it's your CP people, CPP, you put a framework together and grant liberty to every party. Anything that happens in the party, we ourselves will take it. So I don't understand that sort of collaboration. My house, I'm part of you. You say you're part of me. My house is on fire, and you're not willing to call 911 for fire service to come on. Do you think it's too late for Charlene to come on at this time? It's already the deal is already done, and who's gonna listen? Who is willing to undo the kind of authority, the power they have? Especially seeing what happened today. Steve Zako coming in as chairperson now, taking instruction perhaps from Nyombli Kanga Lawrence. He was speaking to the executive committee. I wouldn't be surprised in the coming days, Belete going to be having his own press conference as well.
Thank you, Mr. So. Before I go there, let me just point something else out again to Mr. Sherry, which is good. I think we have just Mr. So, the liberal is on the floor, please. Let me just say this very quickly. Prince brought us some very interesting conversation. In his conversation, he brought us some very interesting point, which was the MCC. And yes, this is what I'm going to read, and people can go on there and read. Regrettably, it says, Liberia did not pass the scorecard for the third consecutive year, though it improved on last year's performance. That would just leave it as that. That's coming from the American embassy. So those of you that want to read, go ahead and read on that. But let me say this. Somebody, when I all day today. I've been after the young lady teleconference. You know, I am Liberty Party member, Liberty Party USA, that is. And on a very serious note, I've been associating myself with Liberty Party since 2005. Mr. So, let me just give you a little background here. Back in 2004 or what have you, there was a group of Liberians put together here and called themselves Friends of Bronski. And before Councillor Bronsky decided to go home, there was another Liberian, and this lady called his name Kofa. Flanty Kofa went home to lay the groundwork for Councillor Bronsky's arrival. And I'll just make it short. I'm not going to go into much detail. So when Councillor Bronsky arrived, before the election, Liberty Party at that time was not Liberty Party. They decided to go with the Wale Party. Wale had a political party that was not working well, and Councillor Bronsky and some of the members of Friend of Bronsky decided to see if they can have conversation with the Wale people to see if they can utilize that party. And when they did that, they agreed from the initial stage. They agreed. And when the party started moving, people started recognizing what was happening. Jody Bryan, who was then was the chairperson for the transitional government, decided to get involved. And then they brand that Wale Party as Better People Party. And one of the issues was, why would they allow Bassa men to come and take over Better People Party? And therefore they didn't want to do that. They no longer want to be part of that group. They wanted Bronsky out. So Bronsky and his people decided to go and see if they can have two political party registered. One was the UDP, which is United Democratic Party, and the other one was Liberty Party. And with the help of one Dr. Suku, I could be getting the names wrong here, but he's also, I believe, from Bassa. They went and registered, and Liberty Party came in the front. The reason of having the two party because they were afraid that if they were to go and register and Bronsky and what's his name, Judy Bryan and the rest of the people recognize that Bronsky associated himself with some, they might come back with another roadblock. So they just threw that out there. By the time they recognized it, the political party, the Liberty Party was registered. Now, let's push forward a little bit. The conversation with this young lady yesterday was very, very sad for some of us that truly has been with Councillor Bronsky for a very long time until his passing. It was very sad because Councillor Bronsky was here. He visited Sacramento here during the election, 2000, I believe it was 2005 election. Yes, and we since then we've had a leadership meeting, go to Las Vegas, and a retreat, and what have you. Bring in Ezekiel, the chairman, bring them here. We have the meeting and what have you. So we've been associating ourselves with Liberty Party for a very long time. Now, the issue after today's after yesterday's conversation, the Liberty Party young people, and not so young people who were gravitating towards Bronsky were calling me today, and some of them are saying, when you go on the show, make it clear that whatever is happening in Liberty Party, after this young lady spoke, Liberty Party will come back strong. And one of the statements, another person said this. He wanted me to call his name, but I don't do that. I'm not going to call his name. Say that Musa Ability, by the time the dust is settled, Musa Ability is going to be out of Liberty Party.
How?
I'm just giving it to you because what this young lady conversation have done to many of Liberty parties here in the United States have galvanized them to come back. Mr. So, let me finish. And come back and make sure that this thing is not going to happen. But here's my take on this whole Liberty Party issue. We all sat here. I've been saying this from day one, that before Councillor Bronsky went home for the 2017 election process, we all, so I specifically, and I think I had a conversation with you before, specifically.
I was not part of that. Don't.
Okay, whatever. I specifically said that I getting Musa Ability into this thing here was not a good idea. And we had a meeting. where people were suggesting, and I know I have that conversation with you, but whether you like it or not, I don't care.
Yeah, bro, you defend that Musa ability right on this.
And let me make my point, will you please? We said that bringing Musa ability in at this time was not the right thing to do. However, he was the political leader. He decided to associate himself with Musa ability and what have you. Here we are. Now, the issue here, and let's be frank again, you cannot have somebody to spend his hard-earned money on a political party, paying rents and what have you. And then you say, you and most of the people that I talked to today, this was their take. Musa Belete has the right. If you want to be part of the political party and you can't pay your due, you don't need to be. So Musa Belete, even whatever things we say about him, he has the right. If these people were not paying their due, then what right do they have to tell Musa Belete X, Y, and Z? If Musa Belete is spending his money, then let him run the party the way he sees fit. I cannot sit here honestly and say what is happening in the Liberty Party is because of Musa Belete fault. However, this is what I'm going to say before I take leave of you, Mr. So, and that is, look, to you and the central right, I'm going to say this again. We're not going to have these kinds of issues. Please bring out another subject matter that we can discuss. Liberty Party issue is none of your business. CPP issue is none of your business. CPP will handle themselves. Even if we decide to go our separate way, the idea is still there to defeat, massively defeat CDC, because CDC, like I said, I have a binder full of the error here. CDC and this government has not offered anything to the Liberian people, none whatsoever. But I'll be careful what I say, because I might be going to Liberia very shortly. I don't want to get flocked over there by these young CDC. So CDC, you're doing good. You're doing good. That's it, Mr. So. I just want to put that in there. Go ahead, Mr. Sherry, play.
Yeah. Yes, before I come to Sherry, I'll be coming. Let me go to Mr. George here. Amos George.
Yeah.
The liberal is trying to be like an octopus or chameleon here, be changing color. One day he's on the other side, another day he's on the other side. I'm not up for that. Look, let me ask this question, and I know you're going to frame out there, because they want to kind of like restructure things that cannot just be restructured. One day, Liberty Ability is a criminal, but they were hanging up with criminal. Is it fair, if I had to flip this question around, that Darius Dillon is also spineless? He called his colleagues where he's supposed to go and make consensus that they were spineless people and said all kinds of things, and came back later on, only for us to find out that he was hanging up with Belete. Belete pumped money into his campaign, came back to come tell us Hassan Belete is a criminal. Who is more criminal in this sort of venture here? I mean, too much of dishonesty is all factoring in.
Yeah. Mr. So let me say this to the liberal. The people that call you today or yesterday.
Nobody called him. Nobody.
No, hold on. If the current, I know the listing, because he told them, say, when I get on the air, I will say it. But those people that call you, they're wrong. They're wrong. Except they want to destroy the entire party. What do you mean that when before everything said and done, Musa Belete will be out? So is that the plot? Do something Babuto and the people in America now trying to plot against Musa Belete to remove him? And you put in that you're going to have a peace of mind with the Liberty Party? You just sat down there, torpedoed the Constitution. You both sat down in America, support you on this platform. You and I were here arguing. You supported Musa Belete. You supported Musa Belete. And today, you come back to say people are calling you. No. You took this man's money and thinking that his money is good, but he's not good to rule. And that was deceptive on the part of Senator Dillon and Yomli Kanga. Because Musa Belete gave these both of them money. What were they thinking when they were taking Musa Belete money? Why they had not paid the dues? Mr. Dillon, who believes in transparency, the most honest man he said he is to be.
The man lie about his
He
own
lied.
teaching. Can you imagine? This is so ridiculous. And you said
Why
that
are we
Then
going
I
to
can
talk why are we
hold
going to
on,
talk
hold on, hold
about
on,
the
hold on.
sitting
Hold on,
senator of the
hold on.
Republic of Liberia
who
and use a
cares?
language
We
that are
talked about the
unbecoming of
president.
LPR?
Samson,
Why
Yeah.
will
hold,
you
hold on.
come up?
You were
Why
talking
can it
and said
not
a
be
word.
untrue? Let's use the word untrue. Let's use the word
Samson told,
not sitting of a
Samson
senator.
told.
Samson
For to say
told
he
Donald
lied,
a
Trump.
lie
that
is a
sounds like a
lie.
Fox News. That sounds like a Fox News operator here this
Whatever you
evening.
want to
And
say.
this is none of
Mr.
LPR.
Cole,
You
hold
can't
on.
use the word lie
Samson
and I'll let
told.
you get away
That's
with
not
it.
an insult.
Samson told. Donald Trump gives a big lie. It's still saying Darius Dillon gave a big lie. Simple as it is. So why you want us to, when George we
This
are
man
in the
receive
CDC
money.
government does it, we say it. And then we want to come here to shield people. That's
No,
not what we're going to do.
I
Can
know
I
you want
come
to
in,
follow.
Mr. Toe?
Yeah, let our Joy finish, then you come in. Shame on
Donald
you,
Trump
Humphrey.
get receive.
I think I
Yeah,
haven't. So you said after him, I was going to.
it
But
must be.
Prince, you
Yeah,
spoke. I waited for you. After you finished, we went around.
guys, we're
When I
gonna,
No,
guys,
finished,
no,
yeah, guys, we're
no,
gonna
no,
come. Don't worry.
no.
Papa Joy, lay your point, and then we're coming.
Donald Trump received $20,000 from Musability. Musability gave him a car, pay his house rent for a whole year. He didn't dispute that. Donald Trump did not comment on that. Donald Trump sat down there. He took Musability to bank and held his hands up, placed him in a position. And today, Donald Trump is sitting down, saying he warning Musability. This guy's a joker. And those who you saw down there today, is that the party people? Belete, the convention they had in Ganta, 11 of the counties attended that convention. And they unanimously endorsed the ANC leader. What I say here to the ANC leader and that of Joseph Boakai, and this is again, Honorable Boakai went and said he recognizes Yombi Kanga. Instead of he's sitting down to wait that the people solve the problem, he jumped and said he recognized Yombi Kanga. Now, if you recognize Yombi Kanga, do Yombi Kanga has the delegates? I thought you were going to wait and see that people settle the differences then before coming up with a statement, but he didn't do it. He said he recognized Yombi Kanga. And Yombi Kanga doesn't have the delegates. We just saw in Ghana recently. So the question here is,
Okay.
how the ANC and Bwagana, which group will they deal with? Is it the Musa Bele win or the Yombi Kanga win?
All right.
This is the question that these political people will be thinking on and to answer. And I will say this. JMB and that of JMB is not the one. It's not a red messenger to go after person we are in terms of corruption and what have you. And Mr. Sherry, let me just make this clear to you.
What?
Let me just, Mr. Sherry, let me just make this clear to you. You talk about human rights, political parties. Since President Weah came to power, no political party had been registered on President Weah. All the political party was registered on Ellen Johnson regime. So give that credit. Don't give credit to George Weah. No political party have been registered on him.
Okay. Let's leave it there. Let's leave it there. Let's come to our two guys here. I think it's all about we'll find time and we're gonna go in depth of CDC. Mr. Sharif.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead quickly and I'll bring in the general.
I listening to Mr. To, and thank you so much for the presentation. But he said something that I actually want to just, play with a bit before going on. He said that, it's comical, but it's serious. Why is it you people are talking about the LP? Y'all forget about the LP. Y'all lead the LP business. Now, these are some of the deception that we are talking about and we need to point out. Every political institution is a government in waiting, and it behooves us as Liberians. And that's why you said from the beginning, and I like that, Mr. So, that we should take this from the hands of the politician and discuss it ourselves. And that's what we are doing. Because at the end of the day, whether Prince Sherry likes it or not, whether who likes it or not, all of these people, they are party in waiting. But if you are telling us today on the show that we have thousands of people listening to us,
that we must tell one more in Liberty Party business. And you know, it's not our business. What? So are you telling me that a political party that is craving for national leadership, that we don't have the right to discuss it, that we don't have the right to look into this thing? Look, this is a dishonesty on this platform, and I think that just because of this, that the Big Brother tool need to apologize to the Liberian people. If he will say this, that we must forget about this. Now, he also talked about this when it came to the report, and I have it here. I'm just about to bring it right here, and I will show you right here. Here is the report here. Here is the report. You see the report here? When it comes to political right, I have the report right here. Those that are watching maybe from your end there, they will see it. This is it. Political right. Look at what we have in green. When it comes to civil liberty,
I think you
when it comes
just
to
doing it to
control.
yourself, Mr. Sharif. We're not saying anything yet. If it was here, it will not be visible to us.
Yeah,
But we
I'm
know
showing
why
you
it is.
for those. The reports are there, but he made a statement and he said there have been some improvement. He talks about improvement. So this is to tell you that the CDC government, based on where we are, because remember now, the same benchmark that was used to grade the Unity Party government is not what is used to grade this government. In fact, this is even harder. The benchmark that is even set up for this particular government in achieving the MCC, how you call, grades, is even harder than that of the Liberty and than that of the Unity Party, because all of us knew at the time
What,
where we were. The people said, well, you know, you
Paul
just
so
explain.
war.
why there will be a different setting for the CDC, you think?
Thank you. It's because when it comes to the Unity Party government, remember now, we just came from war. They were giving out a lot of free passes. The
Oh,
passes were
Things.
so
Come
free.
on.
They were like, now, when it comes to
Who
this
will
government,
continue passes?
remember that I'm telling you, the international community was giving a
Oh,
lot of free passes. I give you an example. You know that we had the GMAT experts in Liberia. Eh? Yeah, we had GMA experts in Liberia that was in almost all of the ministries. Remember that Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government, it was not wholly and solely Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf that was running her government. She had the international partners, GMA experts that were in
but what's
almost
happening to
all
people?
of the ministries. But when it comes to this government, Big Brother, so when it comes to this government, everything is being run by this particular government. So
That's not.
that is the
So,
difference.
Kishan, let me bring you in here.
I'm coming. Let me just land on this, sir. Let me land on this,
You're
please.
being
Let me
fly
land.
everything, my man. When the
Yeah,
flight taking down?
please, I beg you. Let me land on this. I don't know. I'm not giving enough time, but let me land on this.
Oh,
Now,
come on.
when it comes to what is happening in this the LP, this is the mistake that people are making. You don't allow one part of the body to be affected and say, well, since the ear is not affected, I will leave it. And this is what is happening now within the CPP, because people like the ambassador Joseph Nyuma Boeka, Honorable Alexander Cummings, they remain mute on this particular issue. And this is just to show you how irresponsible they are relative to handling issue. And that's why big institutions who want to be able to move forward will always have what we call a crisis mitigation, how you call arena will be set up, so that when these things are puffing up, they can quickly be able to run to it and resolve the problem. But they
All right,
remain silent.
so,
This is
okay,
just to
let's
tell
give it
us
a
that's
prince.
how they will be able to solve the Liberian people problem.
Okay, so Kishan.
Yeah, Mr. So,
Yeah,
I've
thank
been,
you for being patient here.
I've been, yes,
I will give you a time, because what happened, the
yeah,
pressure seems to be within going on within the CPP. Yeah, but
yeah.
the liberals, other people keep deflecting here. We want to keep
Okay.
the conversation here.
I will try to make it brief and touch
Yeah.
on to. Let's go to the Liberty Party. I listened to Charlene's press conference, because I don't call it interview, because she never answer question there. But one thing I pick up, she said, only NEC recognizes a political party. That was a message. Next, they recognize Musa Ability.
Mhm.
We all know that. When Musa Ability came to the Liberty Party, I was one of those who had a little problem. But Dillon now, who I supported, and which I owe no one apology on that, financially, everything, and I was all on the internet, he's corrupt. He has shown his other side.
So you were
And
wrong.
I was not wrong then. You see, no decision is right until it is right. So taking a cow to the river to drink, and the cow refuses to drink, that's not my business. At least I took the cow there. So making his senator, he still got some little truth, but now his lies have passed the truth. Now, he came out and said Bilete was poor, now he saw. So as a Christian, I know who Paul is. Paul now doing the right thing. So as a Christian, we forgave Saul. Now we're dealing with Paul. So Paul, Bilete decided to do what is right. They all complained about the Liberty Constitution, that Mr. Bromsky had too much power and they want to decentralize the power. And at last they did. Everything was going fine until Yombly and Dillon came to themselves. They said, look, I think we can go as VP. In fact, we are in a strategic position right now because Mr. Ure, who already waived his right before the process. So right now, we Liberty Party, we can go ahead and take the lead. If Benete can produce 310 and Bwaka bring 310, is 620. So what Mr. Bwaka looking for is one vote. So if Dillon can give it or Yombly, they don't need an entire Liberty Party. So we can do it on our own. And they came from the same America, they had a discussion right in the place. When Dillon went back and then he lied on the ticket, everything just slowed it down. So they had no choice. They went to Bilete and said, listen, we want to support Mr. Bwaka. Bilete said, listen, we got to sit as a group to discuss it. And I said, right. What is in this thing for us? Okay, if we agree, that means I will have to go as the vice standard bearer. They said, no, let us give whoever we endorse the right to select anybody. It can be a sweeper, but it should be anybody. If you see, if Yombly was smart, she could say, okay, but she could still run behind the scene and talk to Mr. Bwaka and say, listen, you know how
to lobby? They don't know how to lobby?
Okay, but what Dillon said, no, over our day body, it will not happen. Then they came out with fingering of document. And by that time, it was not in CPP yet. Liberty Party was the first that talked about fingering document. So Dillon said, okay, we'll go back to the 2005 Constitution. Oh, you changed it, you did this, you did it. They went and had a nice meeting at Farmington. They shook hands. They said, okay, let bygone be bygone. We're going to start from fresh. So Liberty Party was back together again. Then what brought the problem? Yombly decided to turn over to Mr. Bwaka at Unity head office instead of Liberty. Her entire executive committee wrote her and said, madam, it is wrong. We cannot go to the Unity Party head office to do this thing because they are already behind the scene working. Listen, we don't care about this guy. I can vote, and Dillon vote. We will go up to 622. Mr. Cummings is out. He's out of the whole race. So they decided, and she disrespected her chairman and the entire team and went ahead. She and Dillon went ahead and endorsed Mr. Bwaka indirectly at Liberty Party, Unity Party head office. So what you expect Dillon, this week? He went through the Constitution. If you don't pay your dues, you don't have no right to vote. And 13 counties out of 15 voted to suspend them. So it's not ability. So what you think to do? Pay your dues and come right back because they gave you 3 months. Pay the dues, stay in-house, and fight. But yet and still, Mr. Bwaka too said, oh, I recognize Yombly. You went to NEC. NEC said, no, we still recognize your constitution until you can go back and change it with the group of people, but we still recognize this person. So you see, because of greed, and they're trying to look at this old man that let me knock this. I pray that nothing happens. Now listen, if the old man drop dead today, we're in charge. Yombly will be the next president. It's Liberty Party time. You know, when you start thinking that negatively way, that's what put us into this thing. And being Mr. Bwaka, I would say
let me start.
CPP
Let me
failing under Mr. Bwaka leadership, and it's disgraceful, it's shameful that under the leadership of Ambassador Joseph Nima Bwaka, the man with the wisdom, and CPP cannot move from A to B, but at least my party took it for 8 months, and we organized, we opened all the offices for CPP around the country.
Kishan,
and we did good.
Kishan, let me
Yes.
ask you one question before I go to the liberal. Liberals, we're not in the church, so we are having a conversation. I don't know why you're putting your hand up. I'm coming to you, but let me ask you here, because it's quite fascinating to see what is unfolding within the CPP. I'm wondering here, do you see it as a political ploy? Was there what inside work on the back of the ANC folks? Because I'm wondering why Liberty Party, a party being in existence for quite a while now, that could not possibly even feed a candidate. And all of a sudden, because we raised the line here, I argued that with the Liberal here, it was wrong for Jairus Delon, the Nyombi, the Benana Ure. They are the elders within this establishment. They could have been a deal breaker. I even said that Costa, he's a factor because he has a force. There's nothing that we can deny. But coming out to create this sort of priority method of elimination, working a mathematical process, who's going to get this, who's going to get that, it undercuts the entire process. And Joseph Boyka, as a statement, did not do anything to put halt to it. It got us to be where we are now. You guys has empowered the CDC-led government to give more reason to say, hey, I am afraid. Let me just say this. I am afraid because when the CPP, when they get state power, it would almost be like the Warren faction. There will be a serious fight. If they can't come to a consensus at this time with a common goal, but tell me, they will fight over Ministry of Finance. They will fight who to go to MPA. They will fight who to go to Lpr-Tv. Let me bring in the Liberal before he thinks that
No,
we
but
are.
You're trying to ask me, sir. I was almost
Yeah.
going to conclude.
So I'm asking here: do you see that as a ploy? Was it a ploy? Was that a work out behind the?
No, ANC has nothing to do with the infighting from Liberty Party. But so
no, I'm not talking about that. I'm asking why the Liberty Party could not produce a candidate.
Oh no! They don't have him. They know because you said something earlier. You said if it because of Bromskin, who next? You understand? Some people are looking at Dillon. Maybe he could come out, but Dillon supported his girl from the same county, from Grand Bassa County. So there's no leader there. No one willing to take over. That's the point. So I don't think they don't have nobody.
Mr. So,
the Liberal
look,
protest.
Mr. So, thank you very much. Look, folks, this is and I really appreciate this program tonight. But I will suggest, Mr. So, this is such a wonderful program. Please try to do it on a day that we will be allowed at least 3 to 4 hours, and let's have a serious conversation. Be able to satisfy ourselves. Some of us will drink 4 or 5 bottles of water. That's fine. But let me say this here to my young brother Prince. Thank you, my brother. And this is what I like. I don't want to get involved in these kinds of public discourse or public engagement. Somebody says, "Oh, well, let me take time because you my big brother. I gotta show respect." No, it's not. I know the respect is there. So when you talk to me, it's not that you're being disrespectful. You're being truthful according to you. But let me point this out to you, Prince. I love it.
Can you address the problem in your Liberty
Mr. So the Liberal is on the floor now. Yeah, you come again. You're gonna interrupt the Liberal as usual. But like I said, you're not gonna take me out of my game here tonight, Mr. Sharif. Let me say this to you. You want me to apologize to you and your sedition, including you say the entire Liberia. Now listen to you. Why would I want to apologize to you if I don't want you to be involved in the CPP? Nor do I want you to be involved into a Liberty Party business. Let's listen to this. 6 days ago, you wrote this, and you want me to invite you into my issue? Far from it. You are excused into Liberty Party conversation. You are excused, respectfully excused into CPP cover. It's none of your business. Let me speak in Liberian English. This is what you wrote 6 days ago. How can people who claim, according to you now, how can people who claim to be very alive and serious to impact the living positively choose a dead man? Yeah, how can you refer to, and I'm not even gonna let me finish, a dead man to be their leader, expect to succeed, born psycho ambassador, but you refer to my political leader, the future leader of the Republic, the man who's going to succeed you and the CDC. You're going to refer to him as psycho, and you want me to invite you into my conversation? Mr. Prince Sherry, you are excused in the conversation with respect to Liberty Party, and in the conversation with respect to CPP, because you have nothing to offer. You got nothing except you want us to get you so that you will have the opportunity to insult more? No, we don't want that. So please, you are excused. Let me put this here to ANC. ANC,
Wow.
You people were in charge. It is your responsibility to make sure this thing was working. When the first confusion, I don't care who started, it was on your responsibility. The chairman of ANC, who was the chairman of CPP, was on his leadership that this whole thing started. If he were to produce himself, I know he has the ability. I'm not questioning that. He has the ability to lead. He has the ability. But once again, he came into this trusting. If he had come in and realized, oh, this thing gonna get out of hand, and put his hand around it as a leader and make sure this thing doesn't go any further, I think would have been successful. So for you to come here now and let the blame on my old man, it ain't working. The Lpr is here. Dr. Baka is the next president of the Republic of Liberia. Go up and calm down. I say so.
Amen.
So,
Mr. So, just 30 seconds, please. I think Mr. Brown got something wrong. This whole problem with the CPP never started underneath Mr. Cummings. I want you to get it straight. Everything was over. Yombly was already in charge. Almost 2 months into the end of our tenure, when Ure brought it up and said there was his whistleblower from NEC that gave me information, but as a leader to go in-house and talk it, he wrote a letter and gave it to his son, and his son published it on the internet. So it was not under Mr. Cummings.
Mr. So, two seconds to rebut. Mr. So, 2 seconds.
Hold on.
When he was CPP chairman, the fingering or whatever accusation that will come about came about. They said the document was fraudulently produced, reproduced, whatever. It was on his leadership. So don't sit here and say there's not. As much I don't agree with that. As much I don't agree with Benada Ure, the letter that he wrote that letter after the incident honor your leadership of ANC.
I think you get the wrong statement. You still get
okay, let's see here. Let's neutralize here. Let me bring in Mr. Weir from Kenya, and we're gonna go to George, and Prince will respond. We will soon wrap all here. Since you are requesting for 4 hours for redemption, I put that in writing, and then I can have these guys there. Perhaps we can put that stadium update time. Since you want 4 hours of redemption, we can do that. But look,
yes, I'm here.
There's a potential problem. Yeah, you need to drink some water, Laborer. It's all over. He's going after Prince. He's going after Kishen with ANC in defense of Joseph Boyka. I don't get it. I don't get his argument. Joseph Boyka took over CPP now. The situation has degenerated to the highest height. And yet, and that's why, and they'd like to be dishonest. You have a situation where chaos, hell is breaking loose, mere anarchy is loosing upon the world. Joseph Boyka coming down to validate Nyombli's authority still with all of that, without even doing a background work. Our Liberian politicians, they are one-way people. When they look on the side here, there's no way that they turn back. We'll soon be wrapping all here. You listen to the Laborer here. Where is the settlement in this whole thing? Will there be any settlement? Everybody there's still a power struggle. I am the boss. I am in charge. Everybody's still putting your defense. I won't be surprised when Ability comes up with press conference very shortly.
Yes, I think like what Charlene Bronski said, that she proposed a 7-person committee and she suggests to be a part of that committee. That could help because the ANC and the Unity Party is not doing well for the Liberty Party. What am I saying there? The reason is very simple. We saw in Ganta, the chairman of the ANC was in attendance. Senator Niten, Daniel Niten was in attendance. Then after, the group from the Yomblisa is also with Ambassador Boakai. If these two political parties were in the interest of true democracy or of peace, they could have said, we will not accept any offer for you, the Liberty Party, until you settle your internal wrinklings, your internal issue. Because all of these...
How can they do that? They sanction a document to say, oh, when anybody root on fire, that's not your business. This is what what Samson Toy is telling us now. It is not our business to meddle in the affairs of Liberty Party, but they want to be president. Can you imagine? What's the contradiction of that?
That's what makes it to be wrong. Because, for example, what is happening within Liberty Party, if that is not settled, whatever support that is given to the ANC will not yield good result. Whatever that is happening within the Liberty Party, whatsoever support that a faction of Liberty Party gives to the Unity Party would not also yield good result. That is the issue. It's very simple. So if these two political parties were in the interest of peace, but what I'm seeing here is they are riding on this internal wrangling that is within the Liberty Party to get what they want. Because when you listen to, if you have ever listened to Charles Lim press conference, he said, what good will it make if you are recognized by NEC, but you don't have the numbers? She was referring to the belated group. Because in terms of transforming whatever Musa Belete is doing, he cannot give the numbers.
We will soon be out of time here. Is that a fine line she was walking? She never wanted to hurt either side.
Yes.
Both sides.
Yes.
So I don't know where is the line.
She couldn't have taken side because she had talked about reconciliation. So she couldn't have taken side. So then
the reconciliation, is that authentic, genuine?
It might not be 100% authentic, but I believe it's somehow 75% authentic.
Everything seems to spill out now. You have another chairman. So are they going to go back to undo the special convention in Banga? And
the same chairman
are not giving support to ANC and Kumis will agree to that?
Okay, the same chairman
are coming because this is
it
wants to take it to square zero. It's not willing to withdraw her support. Dara's willing to Benana Ure, the trouble child in his whole CPP. Are they willing to withdraw their support from Boyka and then the other rest? Are they willing to go back to square zero to do that?
No, they cannot go to square zero from the ALP because I think the ALP do not have much problem with that because for the ALP is so say one, so say all. They don't have issue with that. Okay. So you see, now before I conclude, because I will be getting ready to go on the hustle because of the time here. Yeah. Now, before I conclude, the issue, the chairman who had a press conference today, he also validated the claims of what people have been saying. This was the same chairman who also took the Nyombli Kangas fashion to NEC. And NEC sent him back to the Nyombli Kanga fashion that they should settle their issue in house. But we saw him yesterday, he had a press conference that he accepted to be the chairperson of the Yomli Kangas faction of Liberty Party.
He's doing it in the name of the party to fix a problem.
Yes. So I believe to cut on long matter short, what they can do or what they could do, let all of them should forget about the pride. All of them should forget about whatever they have said against each other. Let them come together.
Okay, we gotta wrap
They
it
have
up.
to.
I see one thing that I strongly believe in Costa in one of his attacks on Kwame. He said the water is poison, and when the water is poison, when you drink it, where else? You go to a Sembose funeral or maybe AB Anderson funeral. So that water is being poisoned. Gentlemen, I want to give you guys two minutes each to wrap up. We're gonna find time. The Liberal said he want to be filing in a protest against Prince Sharif and maybe the general for 4 hours, even though when we gave him time, he's unable to defend the person that he represents. And Prince Sharif used to say, "Oh, we're on here. He said we should crawl." I'm not part of that crawling system. Say you want me now to crawl? Me, I'm not ready to crawl. Look, gentlemen, I want to thank you so much. Maybe if everybody can use three minutes, three
minutes.
Yeah, it's to wrap out in rebuttals, but strictly USA 3 minutes, not Liberal 3 minutes, not something Liberal 3 minutes. So let me start with Pa Joyce.
Yes.
You are the most neutral person here. The Liberal always try to link with you.
What? Did you say
no,
most neutral?
I'm not
is not neutral.
Mr. Weir already accused me. I'm not
Yeah.
He accused me yesterday.
Your time is on, Mr. George. Go ahead. Your time is on.
Okay, go ahead. I think it was a fascinating conversation. Very civil disagreement, but it was a mutual one. So okay, Pa George, go ahead. I give you 2 minutes.
Let me say thank you to Mr. Sharif, Kishan, and Mr. Will, and to Mr. Samson Blokuto from the Mayor from Total and the most liberal. But I just want to say something real quick. This issue is all about us, Liberia. So I think when it comes to this discussion, we should have open minds, because if we don't put the people in check today, tomorrow it will be the same thing. We have to call them out. The Honorable Boakai must speak out. Mr. Thomas must speak out. Nyomli Kanga should speak out. It's not about them. It is about the Liberian people. They are suffering, and when they put their hopes and aspiration, trust in people, those people must take it very serious and live up to it. It's no more about me. The issue about the Liberty Party, I'm sorry to say, I disagree with Mr. Will said something. When Yomli Kanga went and supported Joseph Boakai, the party was already in constitution. He accepted that. So why now someone question belief in action? Let the people go back to the convention, the constitution they accepted in Ghana and live by it. This is what they choose to do, and they might abide by it.
Thank you so much. That's was senior analyst Amos George based in Atlanta. Let's go to East Africa, Kenya, where our man Marcus Weird. Marcus, thank you so much for being awake this early morning hour. I think it's good for the country. And that's why we want to have this sort of conversation and take it in the hands of these politicians, because they're not representing us. It's all about themselves. They don't have time for us. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, thank you so much for affording me this opportunity. But before I conclude, let me also extend my condolences to our former president, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, for the loss of her son, Jim Sirleaf. I just saw it through the social media that he died at the age of 64. So may his soul rest in peace. He served our country through the banking sector as well. So I say sorry to you, ma, for the loss of your son. Now, how be it to the issue? Liberty Party and Liberty Party partisans need to come together for the common good of the CPP, because what the other guys from the CPP fail to understand is that anything that affects one party will affect the other three parties. I mean, so if they think that what is happening within this Liberty Party does not affect them, it is a very big lie, because whatever support from both sides, those supports that are given to them should be able to, those supports should be able to they should be able to transform into major votes.
Okay.
Yes, they should be, it should be able to be transformed into major vote, because the Ambassador Bwaka has 2 senators from the Liberty Party, 3 senators rather from the Liberty Party, and then Kumis have executives, but those people, they have not been elected in the history of Liberia, who are supporting him.
Okay.
So how can you transform those numbers, those people, their support into a strong base that will make you to get numbers during the elections?
We gotta go.
So yeah, so thank you so much for following me this time, and I will be available at any point in time.
Oh, definitely.
Don't worry about the time. I do most of my work in the night. Okay. So yeah, men work in the night while the boys do their thing in the day. So thank you so much.
Okay, Kishan, hopefully in the next 6 minutes we're gonna wrap it. Kishan, go ahead.
Okay, I want to say thanks, and also I want to say this to Mr. Weah, and let's go back 18 months into election, and Liberty Party been around. Liberty Party came out with 150 some more thousand votes. ANC came out 124,000 votes. So as I don't see any big difference about. But let's say this: the Unity Party endorsed Mr. Cummings for the convention CPP standard bearer. In case if they go to the convention, that group endorsed. Liberty Party. ALP already said they will support Mr. Bwaka. So when they get to the convention, we still have the right to lobby. According to our document, we have the right to lobby any of these party delegates. It is clear in the document. It's just that because Mr. Cummings, they want for Mr. Cummings to just go as VP instead of reaching to the convention, and we said no, let's go with the documents. That's all. So it's simple. So Liberty Party, we pray that you guys solve your problem, but ANC got no part to play in it. The problem, those who solve the created the problem, they have the Independent Liberty Party, is the Yombly and Dillon. Let us speak the truth. They caused the problem for themselves. This party was split 2017. Yombly voted for George Weah 2017. Most of them went there because you know why? There was a memorandum of understanding in 2017 that if opposition goes against Unity Party, they will support that opposition. That is why Ben Service and other follow George Weah. That's it. So I want to say thanks to everyone, but I pray that the Unity Party will solve the problem. But if you tell us to make a decision now, we'll follow majority of the Liberty Party. If you think that the majority is in Grand Bassa County, so be it. But we go to where they got 11 counties.
Okay, Mr. Sherry, your final
word. Thank you. Let me first use this time to say thanks to all of the panelists. It was really nice having, that particular experience. And I think what we are doing, we are setting the basis for a more, civil interaction. And these are things that we should do, because it means that when we do these things, folks back home will begin to learn from us, and they will look at politics not as something that we have to go at each other through. Having said that, I want to say to the Liberian people that the issue of COVID-19 is serious. Corona is serious. Let us not play fun out of it. It's very serious. Take whatever precaution that you can take. Take the vaccine, and it will be able to help you. Now, Liberians that are listening, you're listening to all the different angles. None of the people, whether be from the Liberty Party or the ANC or whatever, was able to give the Liberian people a clear-cut analysis how they will be able to, solve the problem, how they will be able to create a better life, how they will be able to provide this issue of education, how they can be able to improve the health sector, how they can be able to build the road. All they talk about is the problem within and how President Weah is incompetent. Are we talking about incompetent here, or are we talking about how we can be able to, create a situation where the Liberian people will be alleviated from the problem that have been compounded on them from the Joseph Jenkins Roberts day? I want to say to you that the CDC is the alternative for the Liberian people. You've seen it here. It has been displayed. Nobody brought a piece of paper to say, yeah, this is the thing that ANC has. This is the thing that the Liberty Party has, and we use it to be able to alleviate the suffering of the Liberian people or what the Liberian people is going through. But today we came here. Look at this. The Rising Republic. All of what we have or that we are doing is enshrined in this particular PAPD document. Today, President Weah is being rolled right here. Today, hospitals have been built right in here. Today, students, school fees have been paid. Doctors are going abroad and getting the necessary knowledge to be able to give back to the Liberian people. Today, as we speak, our brothers and sisters, they don't have to stay online. They just have to use their phones to be able to do their registration. So again, I want to say the CDC is the alternative. And what we need to do is to rally around President Weah to be able to elevate this particular infrastructure, human resource, and all of the necessary development. Thank you for the opportunity.
Let's go wrapping up. Okay, let's the print touchdown from Town to Saxton, Sacramento. Is that a blueprint you laying out on the Liberty Party?
No, Mr. So I just want people to know. Let's lay it out. Amos Joyce spoke for 1 minute, 28 second, 81. 1 minute, 28 second, 81. Not a second. Mr. We have spoke for 2 minutes, 13 seconds. Kishan spoke for 2 minutes. 17 seconds.
No. All your information is wrong.
I got it. I was white. I was. So let me get to it. Mr. Joyce. Mr. Joyce spoke for 2 minutes 45 seconds. So 46 seconds. So my turn, and you're giving us 3 minutes. Look,
2 minutes.
You said 3 minutes. He said 3 minutes. He said 3 minutes. So time start. Look, Mr. So, I want to thank you very much. And folks, on a very serious note, Mr. Sherry, Mr. Weah, Mr. Kishan, I thank you guys very much. Mr. George, thank you guys very much. You guys, because of you, the platforms such as these become more popular. We've been out here tonight going to almost 2 hours or more, and none of us were able to use any kinds of language that is unbecoming. I think that just speaks a lot of your character and our character as well. And I want to thank all of you to coming here and for us to have these kinds of conversation. Now, the point I want to make here before I take leave of you is this. If the CPP cannot hold, let me make this clear again. I said, if the CPP cannot hold, because they have allowed Liberians to believe that now this sitting government that they believe has brought so much suffering on them that the group CPP will come and stabilize this rocking boat, and so many Liberians, even sedition, in the last 2 elections, have demonstrated to everybody that because of the failure of this government and because of the failure of this president to pivot, if this president pivot back to where it's supposed to be, he will be difficult to defeat. Let's put it that way. And people are saying, well, he held somebody's hand sometime. No, he's going to be on the ballot this time around. And I keep saying this. This young man, Dr. Weah, is very popular, and the popularity has not waned a bit, none whatsoever. However, we don't agree with the policy. It's the policy, and those who are supposed to implement the policy are failing him. So let's get that clear. So if the CPP can come together, they will be able to demonstrate to the Liberian people by showing how the policy of this sitting government is not helping the Liberian people. But if you come into this and say you're going to defeat this man because you don't think he's popular, you're joking. And because of that, I'm saying again, if CPP cannot hold and challenge Dr. Weah and CDC massively and intellectually and based on policy, then we have no other choice but to go back to, because if our country person, it better you stay with the devil, you know, than you go to the Egypt. So I'm saying again, if these people cannot come together and say this is what we want to do, then I think we will do best to go back to Dr.
Okay.
Weir, and I say again, to apologize to him and say, we're coming, leave us. But if the CPP coming together and know that they can help us out, then I think we're standing a good chance. Mr. So, I want to thank you very much and thank everybody for this time. And I spoke for, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. I spoke for, now I stop. I spoke for 2 minutes, 50 seconds.
It's not even going to help you. When we give you even 5 minutes now, you're not even going to solve the problem because there's no blueprint. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank all of you so much. Mr. Weir from Kenya to be away this morning hour. As usual, our man, Amos George, the general himself. Thank you so much. Mr. Sharif, thank you. I think we can find time to do this and not just only here, that we can come on your platform. We can go on the platform of the general. We need to get this thing out of the hands of the politician. And guess what? The deceit and the hypocrisy of the fans, the electorate themselves, we ourselves responsible for all of these things because we gave justification and back. We do not have the guts to tell people that we support, even if they are doing wrong. We give justification of their actions and align it with other things in the past. This is what killing our country. Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for your time, your expertise. We are doing it for Liberia, not necessarily for this institution, because these people, they are not party. I don't understand. Leadership is still lacking. But I will wish Mama Liberia the luck, because these people will leave the political scene and our country will survive. Thank you guys so much for your time this evening, and looking forward to having more conversation. The Liberal, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. So. Good night to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. Fellow Liberians home and abroad, that's how we do it here from under the Palava Hut. I want to say thanks to each and every one of you who tune in. Those of you who share, thank you for your comment. Liberia is all that we have, so that we should work together as people to make Liberia a better place. On this note, I want to say thank you so much. We appreciate all of your comments. Far from our end, under the Palava Hut.
Hallelujah, the highest praise. Hallelujah, give him the highest praise. Hallelujah. I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, well, folks, that does it this evening. So I want to thank you so much for spending your time, your hour, morning, evening with us here this May week here, right here on the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. Don't hesitate. We're going to go back to your comments, your tweets, and we also welcome suggestions as to how we can enhance quality broadcasting that will serve the good image of our country, because things that we do, we sit behind this microphone, there are other people that are listening, not just only Liberians. They go on the Facebook, they go on the official website, they go on Twitter. People go and listen. And things that we talk, things that we utter, it does have a propensity to enhance and degenerate our country into chaotic situation. So we must try as much as possible to be factual with our information. This is not an entertainment industry. It's not a comedian. So when we come here, we have to do it with seriousness and honesty, and to even the supporters, the viewers, because without you, we can also be here. And we do understand your passions of supporting your political institution, because that's people that you believe in. But we just want you to have a second thought. It's all about Liberia, because these politicians will fade away. What I can guarantee you will stand and remain intact is the Republic of Liberia. Evidence of that is William Tubman, V.S. Tubman gone, Toba gone, Doe gone, and all of these people. But guess what? The Republic of Liberia is still standing tall. We should not allow ourselves to be dunking. Do not be a donkey. Do not be a donkey. Nobody should ride your back and take you for granted because the game of our lives, that's the work of these politicians. We have to stand tall. The tough decisions is ahead. And if we can stand, if we can speak to the facts, and we think we want to create an entertainment industry to say things to entice people to come on to watch you, to view you, you are causing more harms. These people need to produce an agenda, policies based oriented, an agreeable conversation that will create job opportunity, infrastructural development, the agriculture, education, health. Don't let them come tell you, I will build this, I will do this. How? How is the key question. And that's the question they are unable to answer. It is scaring to see these adults, grown men and women, cannot even come together to build a consensus. How can they even manage the affairs of government? If we want them to be an alternative, to behave the way they are behaving, and their surrogates are unable to even effectively articulate what actually it represents, their agenda. It's all about persuasion to get people in your column. They are unable to do that. Name callings, deploying all of the types of propaganda. It's not helping it's not helping us at all. But we still have a chance to change the narrative. And part of that is to stand up to these people, and we should not allow ourselves to be like a donkey. People fool you one time, they can fool you multiple times. That's why we were made in the divine interventions of His holiness, because we must have a second thought of our actions and things that we're going to do. That's how we're going to leave here this evening. By God's willing, same time, same station. We're going to be back here Friday with more conversation. And I think we want to get this thing from the hands of the politician. If you want to form part of a conversation here, Lpr is not just only in the business of the elite or high politician. You want to be part of a conversation here, just put on your thick skin because people still want to come at you. But come, we will have that conversation. That's what we want to do, because that will send a strong and resounding message to these politicians. Whole day you're GoFundMe people, your cash app, you give it to them, and then when time comes, they give justifications of their action. Why you should be feeding people who are not even there for you? For what reason? Come on, guys, let's stop it. Without us, these people cannot make informed decisions. We have to stand up for them. Stop being used. You are not a mechanical tool that somebody can just take spanner and just go wheel their tire or so. No. God gives us 5 senses, that those senses must be utilized. Even you love somebody, when they say something, if you don't understand, put your finger or raise your finger and tell them, say, yes, this is this is what you say. How are you going to do it? How can I hold you? Where can I find the information? So what is your agenda? What is your platform? What your party, what you represent? What is the principle? What is the ethical value of your institution? These people running from one party to one party, go on the side when they don't see their way, then they come back with political correctness statement, knowing what I know now. Is that what we're going to be doing? Is that what we're going to build Liberia? Absolutely not. And you are the chief facilitator. We are the chief facilitator of these ugly behaviors of our politicians. And then when we come back, I didn't know, I thought. That is an obituary announcement, and we need to stop that. Until then, have a pleasant evening, and I will see you when I see you again. Please be safe. Remember, the Omicron, the virus is still in the making. Let's apply all protocols. Do not overlook it. If you have not received your vaccine, you need to get that done, because the life you will save could be your own, that of a friend, or even your household. Let's keep praying for our country. We just need some honest people, sincere people who have the fear of God. Not these deceitful politicians. They're all running in the Senate because they want to be apportioning, rationing money among themselves. And then they come back to tell you different things. Jeez.
just wanna thank you. I just wanna thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I just wanna thank you. I just wanna thank you. Thank you. Whoa, 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 whoa. Love is all we need to make it see. This is the time to come together. Keep Liberia safe forever. So open up your heart, let the unity begin. Love is all we need to make